Welcome. My name is Megan Flanagan, and I am a coach at From Within Coaching. And joining me today is Coach Augusta Good, who is also a coach at From Within Coaching. I think coach is too short of a word for what we do. So why don't you introduce yourself real quickly before we
Thank
get
you, Meg. Good
into
morning. Good morning,
go.
everybody. Yep, my name is Augusta Good. I am a self-leadership and leadership development coach at From Within Coaching. I've been honored to be working there since 2018, alongside Meg and many other wonderful colleagues. And I think, where Meg and I are here this morning to talk about something that our coaching collective is really passionate about and we utilize with all of our clients, and that is the CliftonStrengths.
Mhm.
And, I'd love, Meg, to hear how you were first introduced maybe to CliftonStrengths. Was it with Amy, the owner of From Within Coaching?
Mm.
Um, and how it's kind of helped guide you and your work with your clients. And then, I will talk about that
I'll hit
also.
it back to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
First, a little bit about me. I have been coaching for 5 years now, predominantly in the female entrepreneur space, and that came from myself starting my own company 8 years ago, and it's a social media marketing company. I had been. This will tie into where strength started for me too. I had been working at QVC for a little over 11 years and was caught up in one of the layoffs, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And you're always taught, oh, just go get a job in the field you are trained in, you're an expert in. But something in my gut was just like really screaming out, like, you can't go back to corporate America. This is not in your DNA. Like, something is not right here. And I just, I would go on interviews and they offer lots of money and I'd be like, I don't want it. Like, and I'd be like, who are you? Um, and I had a chat with Amy, who was a few years into starting From Within Coaching, and she had said to me 2 years prior, because we thought, I should freshen up my resume, you know, things like that. And 2 years prior to me getting laid off, she had me do the Strength Finders assessment.
Mhm.
So, of course, what do I do? It's what a lot of people do with assessments. You look at it, you go through it, you're going, yeah, great, thanks. And I quote, put it on a shelf. So fast forward, to that year that I was laid off and I didn't know what I was going to do. And Amy said to me, I called her and I said, I'd love to chat with you. A, because I absolutely need to freshen up my resume. B, I need some coaching on what to do with career and whatever else you see fit to coach me on. And she said, do me a favor. Do you still have that Strength Finders assessment? I go, absolutely. I know right where it is. And I literally, like 2 seconds, pulled it out. And she's like, let's go through it.
Mhm.
And we went through it and we discussed my top 5 strengths. And we just started talking about my strengths. And that led to probably 4 or 5 coaching sessions and diving into where I thought my strengths would best suit me and
Mhm.
my interest. And I had always been a fan of technology. From the time I was a kid, like I was the kid that put together the VCR. Like nobody in my family knew how to do the electronic stuff. I did it. So I was always like a techno person, always very interested in it. So social media, my love of
Yeah.
marketing, my love of selling propelled me into starting my own company. Um, Social media marketing, which then after I learned how to make money for myself as, a single woman on my own who owns my own home, didn't want to lose anything I'd worked really hard for.
Yeah.
When I learned to make money, I wanted to share that knowledge with other people, other female entrepreneurs specifically. So my mentor at the time, she and her husband were like, we'd love you to coach in their high-end coaching and mentorship group, which was all entrepreneurs. So I really kind of honed my skills set there and helped a tremendous amount of people get to where I am. And, that could look like just maybe making an extra $1,000 a month up to, making 10,000, 20,000, $30,000 extra a month for some of these entrepreneurs. And I loved that exchange of kind of like a coaching, yet a little bit of mentorship at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Amy then asked me to join From Within, and I am, I'm learning so much, but really, what I'm really loving is coaching people, predominantly again, women, on Clifton Strengths.
Yeah.
I think and it might be like, well, why? I know it empowered me
Mhm.
to do what I was going to do. And like, why would an assessment empower anybody? This is backed by so much science, so much data, so much analytics. You can't refute it. It's not like a DISC assessment or, the Myers-Briggs. They're
Yeah.
all very based on personality, and the results can change over time. By and large, Clifton Strengths does not change over time.
Yeah.
There's a reason they say it's like your DNA,
Yeah.
because it is part of who you are. And you pretty much, unless you've got a lot of money, can't change your DNA.
Yeah. Oh, this is true.
So
Yeah.
to empower women to lean into their strengths and not talk about what's wrong with them or what they have to fix. I
Yeah.
think we're all over that. We all know, like, every day we look in the mirror and see something we have to fix.
Yeah.
We don't need to be reminded of that. We need to be reminded of strengths. So,
Exactly.
like I said, coaching women on strengths is like, it's my focus for the back half of 2024 and going forward of
Great.
2025. I'm like addicted to it.
Yeah.
I
No,
just
that's great.
And I
Thank
just
you
think
for,
it's this big secret that, nobody, a lot, it's not mainstream yet. It
not yet.
really isn't.
Yeah, that's, I think, as we continue to talk in some of these series about strengths, Clifton Strengths, we're going to be, bringing in some statistics about how many corporations really are bringing this on board.
Yeah,
Meg, thank you for that story, because it's, I know that story, obviously, but it's really
right.
true.
I'll add
About,
one thing.
yes.
Um, years ago when Amy did that second Strength Finders assessment with me, one of the things I did over, I got this notebook 9 years ago, and I wrote my strengths on the inside because every day I just wanted to remind myself of, like, I was starting a business and I was by myself, and every day I just wanted to remind myself what my strengths were so
Mhm.
I could say, this is who you are.
Yeah.
There's no argument. Like, you may feel imposter syndrome, you may feel like you're not worthy, but when you look at your top 5 strengths and they tell you who you are, you can't argue with it. So it
Can't
really
do that.
shuts down imposter syndrome or the stories we tell
Yeah.
ourselves. So that's,
Totally agree.
yeah, a little bit about me, a little bit why I love, still have my business, my marketing business, but I
Yeah.
love coaching. So it really
Yeah.
just lights
No,
me
well,
up.
you're
So
phenomenal and my partner in crime and strengths
yeah,
coaching. And I do love that. Yeah.
yeah. I know
Yeah.
you're
Well,
a huge fan of strength, so, and you've got
obviously,
a lot of credentials too, by the way. Like, I will tell everybody, go look at Augusta's credentials because you've got this package that is just amazing. And then couple it with strengths. I'm just like blown away by the work you do.
well, thank you. Thank you. And it's, yeah, it's been a journey for me too, as far as starting with Amy and starting with strengths for me. And, when I was first introduced to Clifton Strengths, Don Clifton, the founder, he was, years and years and years ago, like, why is everybody focusing on correcting weakness, trying to bring weakness up, and in the workforce, instead of looking at what the strengths are and capitalizing on that and reminding people of who they are, like you said, their DNA, and reminding them of what they do best. And that's what the assessment it looks at. I'm a past biochemist, science by education, and I really love this assessment because of that science and that reliability and validity that you were talking about. I won't use anything that doesn't have that kind of integrity. Um, Clifton Strengths is being used by over 3 million people globally, and it's rising. And so it's huge in education. We see it a
Yes.
lot in education, but we're seeing a lot of clients come through that are asking us to bring it into their corporations and work with teams, because you really get when you can see what everybody's top 5 strengths are, you can really kind of see where people are best fit. Are they actually in the right position? Is this capitalizing or leveraging their top strengths? And so And it also is, a great common language to help with communication, collaboration, problem solving, etc. And so for me, I'm going to say, and I'm going to ask you, but my top 5 strengths are strategic, learner, input, futuristic, and individualization. And when I learned that, I remember being able to look back and all these dots started connecting as far as how I was in college, how I did things. It's even as not a young child, but adolescent, it made total sense to me. I was like, oh my God, this is me. And this is why I do the things that I do and why I love to do what I do. So, looking at why I use it now in all of my clients, it is the first thing I do with a client. I take them through the strengths assessment. As I said, I'm a, self-leadership coach. And for me, the most important part, the first thing a leader must understand is themselves before they can lead others.
Absolutely.
Understand and develop that self-awareness. So some of those other, credentials you were talking about, I use another assessment also for that purpose. It's different than CliftonStrengths, the Herman Brain Dominance instrument, but CliftonStrengths, it kind of reintroduces. I work with women, I work with men, I run a women over 50 program with Meg, especially with the women over 50, it reintroduces them to themselves because for a variety of reasons, and I'm sure you run into this too, they're burned out, they've been in corporate, maybe doing a position that they did in their 20s and they're just not wanting to do anymore.
Right.
And they've lost their creativity. They've lost knowing what they want in life. And this is the first step. CliftonStrengths is the first step. That's always a huge aha, like, this is who I am. And this is how I need to speak about myself and move toward going forward, especially looking for a career pivot or, entrepreneurship. And for you, it sounds like, why don't you tell me your top 5, because you are able to use them to create what you've created now successfully.
Every darn day. So my top 5 are restorative, individualization, ideation, deliberative, and relator. So lots of really strong strengths. That sounds silly, but one of the things that I had a lot of ahas when I learned my strengths and I started really diving deeper, more than just one coaching session, to say, hey, here they are, unpack them, read all about them. A lot of times we lose interest, but in having, a few sessions to talk about each strength and reflect, like, my whole life, like, where did I, restorative, I can solve problems like that, and all my family and friends know that about me.
Yeah.
So when I saw that as my top strength, I'm like, yeah, of course. But on the flip side, I've got deliberative. So I'm very careful about what I say before I say it. So let's say I could have been at a roundtable meeting at QVC. All these people are coming up with answers and blah, blah, blah. If I'm not feeling it's a problem solving opportunity, which I can do very quickly, I go into that deliberative mode where, I finally said to a boss after like a while, like, I need to think about things. Like, sometimes I need to, either go find the facts or go find the numbers, or I don't just want to say this off the top of my head unless I really do know it. But that's where deliberative kicks in. And, you can see me now, my wheel's spinning. I'm thinking about what I'm saying before I'm saying it right now. It's not that natural riff because it's just, it just kind of kicks in. So
And that's
you can
wonderful.
when you start going through some coaching sessions with a coach to really dive into it, I mean, it's like driving a car and you're driving in a stick shift, like, you're driving in different speeds, but these top 5 gears will get you anywhere you want to go in life. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, no, it's really true because, again, you just confirmed what I said about looking back and being like, oh, that is how I am. I do see that.
Yeah.
And, You know, we tell our clients, and this is really true for anybody who's interested in, you know, we just gave you some words. There are 34 strengths.
Yep.
We look at the top 5. I also run managers and leader reports based off top 10, which are
Hmm.
really powerful from Gallup, which is the company that is over CliftonStrengths now. But you know, what's so interesting too is you are able to, when we're leveraging our strengths, you know, and I'm like, got strategic, learner input, futuristic, individualization. It happens. That's a really good combination for me as far as coaching and really being able to work with people. But we're energized, and we talk about
Yeah.
that, you know, because if we're somehow not utilizing our top strengths in the career we're in or a situation, this goes for relationships, community things, you know, whatnot, but we're talking specifically about, you know, employment right now. You're drained and you're like, why am I
Yes.
coming home and I just want to lay on the couch?
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you, when I work with clients and we really look at their strengths and kind of look at other things that we're doing in coaching and brainstorm, what can you create that's going to utilize these strengths? They are energized, they're more confident.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And that's so important, I think, right now, just for what everybody's gone through the past 4 years. It's just we're all drained. Everybody I talk to is drained and tired and exhausted and just overwhelmed with the amount of information we're getting. And
Yeah.
to, you know, I think part of self-care, yes, go out and stand on the grass or put your feet in the ocean, but
Yeah.
also do some self-reflecting, like you said, and learn about what lights you up and what doesn't, and
Yeah.
how do you navigate that. And there's a really scientific, intellectual way that's not above anybody's head, like anybody can do it.
Yeah.
So it is, you know, and I'll go back to when I landed on deliberative and I realized what I was doing at work, like, and how I needed the time to think about something, I had always
Mm.
beat myself up for that.
See, yes. Yeah.
And here it's a top 5 strength. So if I had known, like you do the work in the workplace.
Yeah.
So if I had known that and I could have said, listen, one of my top 5 strengths is deliberative. So when we have these meetings, I'm going to go home and I just need 24 hours, but boom, what I come back
Absolutely.
with will be phenomenal. Like, wouldn't that have made a better, well, it would have, I think only person who would have helped would be me, but that's really, that's
Well,
okay.
it would have helped the corporation in the
Yeah.
end, because when employees are, you know, dialed in to what they do best, and like
Yeah.
it's, you know, like activator is a strength, and that means you are the one that wants to start the project. You might not
Yes.
take it to the goal line, and so if somebody's got activator and they're
Mhm.
in their job is to get in the middle of a project and take it over the end line, that is not their strength. And so
Right.
they can do it. It takes a lot more energy, but it will benefit the company to understand their employees and
Right.
where they best can be utilized. And
Right.
so that's what's so fun about it too when you work with teams, because people are like, oh my gosh, you know, we don't have a lot of influencers in here. So how do we pull in somebody who's got the top strengths of influencing to help us market or whatever? It's just such great conversations,
You
always,
made,
always.
yeah, you made such a great analogy, a little bit of a sports analogy too, taking over the goal line. Like, you don't just have 13, I don't even know how many guys on a field just playing football. Everybody's got a role.
Yep.
But in corporate, we do have 13 people around a table.
Yeah.
And nobody had, like, yes, you may be a manager, you three may be directors, but like, to your point, what if you knew that you were the person that was the starter?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
it's
knew you
so
were the person
good at
that
that.
would take the ball and run with it and get the job done on
Yeah.
time or ahead of time, because that's what lights you up.
Yep. And
You
yeah,
know?
Fred's good at that. So we give that task to Fred,
Right,
and
right.
you are going to be the one now that's going to be
Yeah,
brainstorming. And you know, it's also when I coach leaders and managers, you know, I coach them with strengths, and then we work with their team, and then we look at how do you talk to this person,
right,
because they have this constellation of strengths that nobody's the same.
right.
And so, you know, if this person has a lot of relational strengths, you can't come at them with all the analytical data and whatnot.
Right.
It's gonna be a little bit like, whoa, you know, and
Mhm.
it's such a great way to see your people
It
and for
it
them to
truly
see you.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It truly is. It's amazing.
Yeah, we could talk about this forever,
I
I think.
know, and I know we were trying to keep this short, but I just want to let everybody know we're talking about strengths because we're inviting you to join one of our strengths events. We have them specifically for women over 50, and we also open them to all ages, everybody,
Yeah.
wide open. So we've got those events as well. So you can check out our events page on fromwithincoaching.com, or our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. Everything will be listed kind of under this video that you can find out the information. And if for some reason you can't find the information wherever you saw this video, just DM us and we'll get you the information. But we love doing strengths events for people and organizations. And I think especially now with layoffs, the tighter you can make your team and have them talk to each other and know each other truly for their strengths, the better your organization is going to be productivity wise and just feeling like a team. So
yeah, it's tough.
so
It's tough out there right now. A lot of hiring freezes and everything. So
yeah,
it's, people are just needing to know where they best fit within the organization so that it can, run most smoothly and also be most cohesive, with the employees. So, yeah, it's definitely something we love talking to people, individuals, and corporations about.
right. So if you want any more information, you can also reach out to Augusta or myself on the FromWithinCoaching.com page. There's an about or meet the team, and we are under that tab with all the other coaches at FromWithin.com, FromWithinCoaching.com.
Oh, thank you, Meg, for your time this morning. I love these
Thank
conversations.
you. I know. Let's continue them. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep talking about strengths. So
Definitely.
all right.
Definitely.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.